My name is Richard Corbett, and this is my oral presentation for Module 703, Surfaces and Strategies. I have found that the journey of discovery about my practice has surprised me in the way that it has evolved and changed as I uncovered more concepts about photographing tattoos. I started with the intention to tell the story and viewpoint of people who are both Christians and have tattoos, and this was initially going to be approached in a straight documentary style, with photographs of the tattooed subjects being accompanied by the story of their lives in relation to their tattoos. Similar to the style and hopeful of the sensitivity of Platon's portraits of girls and women who had been victims of sexual violence in the Congo. And with this intent in mind, so I could understand the context of how tattoos are photographed, I undertook a search to see what type of photographs of tattoos there are in existence at the moment. During my research, I found that the majority of photographs of tattoos fall into three broad but distinct categories. The first category is the snapshot, where they have either been taken by the wearer to show off their new art on a social media platform, or they have been taken by the tattooist directly after the completion of the work to use them as proof of work for potential new clients to see. Both, or should I say, neither types of photographs are suitable to use as a context of my practice, as the selfie type image is invariably of low quality both technically and aesthetically, and even if the image has been taken with a DSLR, it still shows a fresh wound with the skin immediately surrounding the artwork pink from being damaged by the needle and ink, and with the high shine of the petroleum jelly type emollient that has been spread over the fresh tattoo to soothe the irritation. In my experimentation of different imagery of tattoos, I tried to put my own spin on this type of photo, as I knew I was capable of a higher technical quality photograph. Plus, the tattoos I have to work with were not fresh and raw. They had been on the wearer for many months into many years. So I took up close-up photographs, even going to the extent of using a macro lens on some occasions to magnify the ink work as high as possible. But after viewing the first set of photo shoots using this technique, I realised that this, in effect, would make my practice little more than a cataloguing activity, and my final piece would end up similar to the ubiquitous tattoo sample books that are found in every tattoo studio that clients use to choose their next tattoo from. It could also become indistinguishable from the myriad of social media sites where the tattooist advertises their style and quality of artwork. Not to say that I won't include these types of images as part of my work, as the detail in some of these tattoos I have photographed is such of a high calibre that I feel it would be doing the tattooist a disservice if I did not photographically allow the viewer to appreciate the skill, the training and talent of the artist through my practice. And there is an element of depth to the story of the wearer of the tattoo, in their nuances of the detail they have chosen to have drawn on their skin. But it is not my intent to solely produce these type of photographs, as it does not tell the whole story of the wearer of the tattoos, which is still my main intent. The second category of tattoo photograph I found in existence, en masse, is more akin to the portrait or fashion style, where it is taken either in a studio setting or on location. There are contrived images with a tattoo used as a backdrop canvas to help promote either another brand for sales, similar to the tattooist's reason for the selfie style photograph. For this reason, for the photograph is mainly for sales, not primarily art, and definitely not to tell the story of the wearer. Once again, I have tried producing my own spin on these type of images to see if they can assist me in my endeavours to tell the story of the sitter. But I have to be honest in my critique of these photographs by saying that they are similar to the type of portraiture I already take professionally, where the sitter likes the end result because I have used my skill in both the studio and in Lightroom to produce what is essentially a glorified image of the person. Nice images and a happy customer, if you will, but not necessarily in line with the intent of my MA, as I feel I would Once again, fall short of telling the true story of the sitter if I was only to include this type of imagery. But one unexpected outcome from this venture is the fact that the sitters do love their photograph, and they are proud to have them as their social media profile photo and to have them framed and shown in their homes. This has led me to realising that there is a market for this type of portrait, and I am always looking to expand my photography business into a niche and untapped areas, and I will be advertising this service as one of my photo packages once I have developed my practice more through this MA. The third type of image of tattoos are more akin to those found in encyclopedias, textbooks and historical documents. They are used to tell people of stories of Aboriginal tribes, of circuses, of Japanese samurai or yakuza. In other words, they are typically photographs that are used to give a context to a historical article in a book. And in the same way that all photographs are of their day, these type of photographs serve to be a time capsule on life at a certain time by a certain person at a particular time in their life. But taken out of the context of a backstory to explain who the person is, we will only ever be able to see the surface story, with the tattoo being there to give a little bit more of an explanation to the subject in the photograph. So due to the reasons previously mentioned, none of these three types of tattoo photographs individually satisfies my intent of getting the full story of the wearer, or if you will, to get under the skin of the person, pun intended. But I think there is merit in using a combination of all three forms of these strategies by having three mini projects looking at taking contextual images, a fashion style image and a close-up image of the tattoos. I have already undertaken portrait and close-up photos of sitters, and I am reasonably satisfied with the outcome of these sessions. This leaves me with trying to place the person and their tattoo in the context of their lives, which is problematic as the fact that the vast majority of tattoos are hidden from day-to-day view under clothing. Plus, many of the places that tattoos are drawn are extremely awkward to capture in a natural looking posture. I have therefore had to start reassessing my method for combining the elements, the tattoo, the person and the attempt to tell their story. Not an easy task. Other practices I think develop my strategy include David Hockney. Hockney's work over the last decade has shown me that an artist can develop the mediums he uses as technology develops. For example, he moved from an iteration of work from one scene of the large canvases to moving to digital medium of an iPad, which highlighted to me the way he embraced technology to his benefit. There is no denying his skill with the brush or stylus, and then his use of the camera in the way he broke the borders of the image in the work he called jointers, by piecing together multiple individual small sections of a scene to create a more fluid representation in an attempt to replicate what the human eye sees, depth perception and natural movement when we inspect an item. It is, in my opinion, one of the best uses of a set of static images for the viewer to experience what the artist sees. Surfaces I am currently using to showcase my work have so far been limited to the digital world, but other mediums that I can use include large-scale prints, which will facilitate the viewer to see the individual elements I want them to concentrate on. Conceptual photographer Jeff Wall has used large-scale photographs in Zebrachrome with backlighting to dramatic effect. I have tried this in a smaller scale and within a tight budget by printing out my images to 600 by 600 millimeters using printing paper and an inkjet plotter, and mounting the images on an LED flat ceiling panel. And considering the relatively low quality printing method I used, I was quite pleased with the results, as this brings more of a physicality to the image. So I would like to try getting some of my images printed on a better quality medium and mounted between the diffuser and the Perspex panel in the LED. This is a relatively cheap way of recreating Wall's work, as the LED panels can be bought for about £25 each, and with a little bit of planning they can be mounted on the wall to be viewed. And I will be investigating this possibility further. Thank you.